Uh,
Uh, but speaking of animation having an ongoing narrative, of all the
yes.
properties that I expected to have sequels, Wallace and Gromit, Revenge Most Fowl was not it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched a Wallace and Gromit anything. So this is a refreshing change.
Yeah. So as far as what you need to know going into this, this is a sequel to the classic Wallace and Gromit show, The Wrong Trousers.
Mm. Yes, it's the movie starts off. It's with Wallace and Gromit foiling the the plot of what was it, Feathers?
Feathers something.
Yeah,
He he doesn't. He is a mute penguin who pretends to be a chicken. So
yeah, yeah.
wow,
With the
from 1993. So this sequel came 31 years later.
wow. Well, good. It's that's the thing with claymation. You don't have to worry about actors aging.
Yeah, although they do have a new voice actor, so
Oh, yeah. You really
uh,
can't tell that much though.
yep, no, the guy who they have doing it now is very in keeping.
Yeah.
And I was looking this up to confirm. So the original, The Wrong Trousers, was only 29 minutes long, where this is on the shorter end of being a theatrical release at 122 minutes, or excuse me, an hour 22 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so the movie starts off with Feathers being apprehended, and then for stealing the blue diamond, and then he gets sent to prison for life in the zoo. Uh,
The, those scenes where he was in the zoo, like getting strong, like he was doing prison, like acting like he an actual prisoner. They
yeah,
forced him to like dress in an orange vest and clean up the trash in his place.
yeah. And then so then we cut to Wallace and Gromit, where uh, Wallace wants to make Gromit's life better. So he with Gromit's gardening. So he creates a new robot android gnome to do all the gardening, and of course it doesn't go exactly the way Gromit likes.
Right. So I think that of some of the stuff we've seen, this is definitely in the category of like this is firmly a kids movie.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's I would say it's an all age movie, but it is a little bit predictable.
yeah, yeah.
Which isn't the worst thing. It's just that I, I'm sure that the kids who are thinking ahead will feel smart about it. The thing is that we made certain scenes a little bit not as interesting for me, just because it's like, okay, I see where this is going. Come on, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that too, especially with one scene in particular with all the gnomes, and where Gromit's trying to show Wallace something, and then what he's trying to show him isn't there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
Yep. The yeah. So the way these plots intersect is so you have Wallace, who's been low on money, hiring out his gnome as a landscaper for everybody,
Yeah.
which our evil penguin man proceeds to hack and make an army of evil ones.
Yes, and turns the main one evil, and you could tell that because the eyes change colors.
Yes, from those beady little things right there to being all black.
Yeah.
And I'll say, it isn't as obvious when you're looking at it in a still image like this. That gnome was freaky as crap.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Now it's already stop motion animations, so of course, nothing's going to look photorealistic. Although last week's Kubo and the Two Strings for a few characters actually came fairly close.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Um, but you kind of have the problem of if you're doing a stop motion cartoony style, how do you emphasize that this gnome is a robot and not just a little person? And the answer was this character design is just firmly in the uncanny valley.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He actually grew less creepy when he turned evil.
Yeah. It's if that's even possible, but it seems
He,
it was.
yeah, like I guess it's because he looked less human, so he edged himself a little bit out of the uncanny valley for me.
Yeah.
But he was actually less disturbing to look at when he was in evil mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, of course, Feather's plan is basically to frame Wallace and Gromit for the crimes that the gnomes commit on his behalf while he tries to get out of prison to steal the blue diamond again.
Yes. And there's an interesting little twist in there with regards to the blue diamond, and which involves the chief of police, who's just kind of very inept.
Yes, played by Peter Kay, Chief Inspector McIntosh, who
Yeah.
He's a very much a classic petty British what's her about bureaucrat.
Yeah.
He's literally 2 weeks from retirement. Yeah, the new police officer, P.C. Mukherjee, is they're a comedy duo because he's very stuffy and full of himself, but also incompetent.
Yeah.
Where quick sidebar about that character, what really struck me watching it was you could argue that she is kind of a classic Netflix DEI character in a sense.
Yeah.
In the sense that here we go again, young woman who knows everything that's going on and it is diverse and her boss is incompetent. But the thing is that her go-getterness is actually treated as a comedic foil.
Yeah. She's very green, and so she doesn't get everything right all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she's very earnest and so is very likable, but she still screws up a few times. Like, she's told, go gather the evidence. She basically strips their whole house bare.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know like what's relevant evidence and what isn't.
Yeah.
That I actually I found myself enjoying that character, and it only occurred to me in retrospect where I said, wait a second, she's exactly the type of character that a lot of YouTubers would complain about if she was in a different genre, but she was actually good. So
Yeah.
so well done. If they were having to hit some sort of quota for Netflix, because this is a Netflix original,
Mm-hmm.
well done. You passed the assignment.
Yes.
And of course, there's also a theme of when like Wallace has always been the inventor, and he's always trying to make inventions to make their lives better with varying results.
Yeah.
But this one is definitely a theme of it feels like it's very much influenced by the current brouhaha around AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, when are you going too far letting the technology do things for you?
Yeah, I got that sense too. Yeah. Yeah, especially with when they're going around, just having them do all the house, the housework and everything. It's just like, okay, well, you're going to turn into a lazy layabout who isn't going to do anything.
Right. And like it's also just slowly stealing all of Gromit's hobbies.
Yeah.
Because he's knitting a sweater. Oh, well, the gnome can knit it faster. Or he wants to garden. Well, old chum, you've been working too hard. The gnome can do that for you much better.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so Gromit just kind of loses all his purpose in life.
Yep. Which results in some fairly predictable conflict where he's suspicious of the gnome.
Yeah.
Then as far as let's see there. Oh yeah. So other interesting things. Just judging by the box office, I'm one of the only people who actually saw Wallace and Gromit Curse the Were-Rabbit in theaters.
Oh.
I remember it being a disappointment at the time.
Uh,
I liked it, but it's just, I also never hear anybody refer to it. Whereas, The Wrong Trousers is still, I see references to it to this day, just because I guess it is very memeable. But
yeah.
in that one, he ended up with a love interest played by Helena Bonham Carter, who is not referenced in any way in this movie. So I guess it didn't work out.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yep. Sorry, Wallace.
Yeah, sorry, Wolves.
The other weirdness I noticed was that there's never a scene where Wallace actually is eating cheese or eats cheese.
No, cheese is only a reference because that's his password.
It's referenced as his password. There's a picture of it in the newspaper for clipping from when they took down Feathers.
Yeah.
But he's never actually eating cheese. Now, it might be because all of the scenes where he is eating something are at the breakfast table. So it's like the jam and toast machine is being used instead of anything cheese related.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it still struck me as a little bit odd. I imagine someone at work and he's like, "Oh, that's non-canon."
Yeah. I can understand that.
But
the other thing too, I noticed. I don't know if this was coincidental or not, but the climax of the movie is actually almost identical to the climax of the Garfield movie.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed that.
Yeah, I was watching that. I'm like, oh my god, that's the Garfield movie. Did they rip it off from them, or did who ripped it off from who, or is it just just happened to work out that way?
Yeah, like a massive coincidence. Like that was so trippy for me. Like this,
yeah,
it was like a train fight over a gorge.
Yeah, and characters plummeting off, plummeting down to said gorge.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting. Now, excuse me. Right. Now, as far as criticisms, so there is a tendency in some stop motion productions, because it takes so long to animate a scene, that they will kind of stretch a scene out, because it's like, look, we already set up this area. We're going to use this area.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of where I think that being able to predict where a lot of the plot was going 20 minutes in advance, and the scenes being a little bit slow paced in places, didn't always help.
Yeah.
I would still say overall it's very charming, and maybe some of the slow pace was to give you time to look for all the little Easter eggs and funny signs and things like that.
Oh yeah. Like the farmer from Shaun the Sheep has a little cameo in there.
Yep, which I didn't notice that, so good on you.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite gag was at one point they're trying to get to the border so that to get out of the police's what do you call it?
Jurisdiction.
Thank you. The police's jurisdiction, like the border between Lancaster and Yorkshire. On one side it says entering Lancaster, go away.
Yeah.
Entering Yorkshire on the other side, no, you
go away.
Yeah.
Which is that's very, very British humor there. But yeah, I mean, I think overall it's not a bad movie. It definitely one that one measurement that you often use, DB, with movies like this is this a movie that you could put your kids in front of, and they'll be entertained by it, and you don't feel you can safely put it in front of your kids to have them watch it. And I'd say that fits in the category.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's interesting. I was just looking over the IMDb. One of the minor characters, Anya Doorstep, who I think is the news reporter, is played by Diane Morgan, who people may know from as Philomena Kunk from those enraging YouTube videos where she gives the stupidest interviews possible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez.
I didn't recognize anyone else in this, but now if they make another one, if they make another Wallace and Gromit special, I doubt we're going to see the gnome again.
No, that's probably a one-time thing.
Right, just like there's no rabbit lycanthropy in this one.
Right, yeah. Yeah, although we might see feathers again.
Yeah, although, with the time it takes to make one of these, we might be talking about it in 2030.
Oh, yeah.
It does sound like it was a pretty big success on Netflix for them. Like just consistently in their top charts. So who knows? That might encourage them to fund another one sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I will say it is definitely better than Chicken Run 2, Rise of Nugget, or whatever of Nugget. Yeah. I love Chicken Run. I tried to watch the sequel and did not make it 15 minutes in. It was just kind of cringe.
Ooh, yeesh.
And not even like things that the internet often finds cringy. It's more just like, okay, this is for the smallest of children. Cool.
Yeah.
At least that was the impression I got. But I want to be